Committee for Traffic, Parking, Transportation. We have a few resolutions here. The first one is RS 2019-1743, approves an intergovernmental between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and Metro Public Works for a general maintenance agreement for I-440 traffic operation deployment of Bluetooth Spectre Power over Ethernet data collection devices. I do not have a letter.
So I know in previous committee that this had been
Deferred.
deferred, I believe.
In Public Works, it was just deferred.
Was it one meeting?
One meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that makes it indefinite.
I would definitely support a deferral, even indefinite.
Defer one meeting?
I'm not a fan of this one.
Yeah, I think we had some concerns just as it relates to the observational technology and how that data would be used. And I know that's been a concern, just to make sure that we understand what Metro's
They had
position is on
the
that.
engineer or the person who was responsible for the tech side of it on the phone in the Public Works Committee, and they did hear him out, and even with that additional information, the caveat that they wanted to put on the legislation is that if the technology ever changes, that they have the ability to cancel the agreement. So that's where they left it, and that's why they deferred it after hearing him out. So just to give you an idea of what happened there.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I think
All right.
we should just align ourselves with Public Works and say have the
Do we have a motion to defer? Do we have a second?
second.
All in favor? Aye. Deferred one meeting. The next one is BL 2019-1656. This is by Hager. Amend section 6.72.245 and section 6.74.230 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to extend the vehicle age at which taxi cabs and other passenger vehicles of hire may be operated. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
And discussion. Second. Anybody want to discuss it?
Well, we could just have a brief description. I apologize. I've not
Yeah.
read up on this one.
Billy, you want to do it?
Sure. That's the taxi cab and other passenger vehicle hire sedans, blue, black cars, sedans, and so forth. The taxi cab industry came to the Transportation Licensing Commission and made a request that we change the age limit for a taxi cab to come off from 10 years to 12 years. The commission, after having public hearings on the issue, decided that based on what came from the public hearing, they would actually go to a 15-year period. Uber and Lyft, for instance, are both transportation network companies that are outside the authority of the government, of the metro government, but they allow their vehicles to go on to stay on to 14 years. And since there's been such a disadvantage to the taxi cabs through that whole transportation network process, they felt like this would help level the playing field to give the taxi cab additional. We as staff, we added the other cars as well, because if we're going to do it for taxis, I think we do for the limousines as well. So
Yeah.
we will require some additional inspections and that sort of thing, but again, that'll be at a staff level.
And do they have to go through the same kind of metro emissions inspection? Or when you
Our
say,
vehicles.
a taxi,
they would have to
like
have
a for-hire
Right.
vehicle.
Yeah,
Okay.
all of the emissions, we don't touch that at all.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I find people often ask me, like, well, what's the most environmental choice that we can make for our vehicle? Should I buy a Nissan Leaf? Should I do this or that? I'm like, actually, you can just drive your current vehicle you have now, like, into the ground. Like, just keep using the vehicle that you have. And I appreciate now that I think with technology and otherwise, cars, their lifespan is much longer. And I appreciate that we're leveling the playing field there. And I would encourage the commission, see how this goes, but I mean, I think a 16, 17, 18-year-old car is still a fine car
There
to
actually
drive.
have been
So.
some cities that have just taken the limit off altogether, and I'm
Right.
not prepared to say, here are all the cities.
Right.
But clearly, it's about public safety, and are the cars still safe? And as long as they're safe, it probably doesn't matter, and you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get some wear on them.
Right. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All in favor?
I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
Are we allowing rebuilt titles on our taxi cabs? Is
There are, the law does not prohibit that.
that something we could look at?
We could look at it. It's been talked about. I'm not the expert on the issue, but we do require mechanical inspections every year. So we are, even with rebuilds, on all of them, we're requiring annual inspections from certified mechanics. But if you'd like to, it would be a challenge. I'm not sure I could tell you how many have them without going cab to cab, but we can certainly talk about it and do what you like. If you'd like,
I would definitely like to at least, in the next 8 weeks, get a little bit more information about it.
we can do that. I'll give you a call. We'll talk. We'll go from there.
There's probably not that many of them anyway, is there?
Rebuild?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a ton.
Councilman Freeman, can you explain what that means? I don't understand.
Rebuild title, it can happen for a lot of reasons. I'm looking for mainly the two-piece cars. A lot of used car lots.
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll buy the wrecked, and they'll just put new parts on them and just kind of get them, massage them up, get them out the road. And it comes with salvage titles, rebuilt titles. A lot of states don't allow them. Tennessee, we just, we just wait till a bus full of nuns get killed, and then we'll change the law.
So isn't that especially concerning for limousines and vans and things? Like I think I recall in the news of late that there was a limousine accident somewhere in the Midwest that was perhaps related to this issue you're talking about. Like it was a rebuilt, like they took this part and that part and put the car together, and that meant it was less structurally sound when they got into a wreck.
That's kind of true of all the vehicles they stretch.
Yeah, when they cut them in
appreciate that.
half.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Okay.
I'm more concerned with the ones that have been in a wreck, been totaled.
I appreciate that.
Normally, if it's rebuilt, there's a state statute, and I think it's over, I want to say 50% of the major components,
Then it
something like
can't
that.
carry passengers,
It has to be a
or rather
rebuilt
for hire.
salvage title. That's
Okay.
the way it works. And a lot of times you have rear-end collisions, where even though it doesn't hurt the front of the car, they can rebuild the back, and it didn't bend the unibody or the frame, but 50% of the components had to be changed out, so it has to go to a rebuilt salvage title.
And that would definitely be
One
something
thing-
that would not, I'm looking for like the ones with the twisted
Right.
frames, where we're having to cut sections of the doorway out, and you've got, just a guy with a welder putting them back together.
Yeah.
If there, and again, I'd be happy to work with you. If we can identify a way, in other words, if we can establish a frame, no pun intended, framework that says this is acceptable, this is never acceptable.
Exactly.
And if there's a way to identify, we'll need to figure out, but certainly, we want, the public safety, that's our job. That's the main thing we're there for.
That hit and run my wife was in the Nissan Altima, it just crushed the whole trunk and everything back. It was still drivable, but the insurance company came back and said, well, we'll either fix it for this price or we'll tow it out. And it was over half the value of the car, and I said, no, just tow it out. I don't want it, and that's what they did.
Yeah. And the hope is that car is maybe not coming back as a taxi at some point or
What they'll do is they'll take it to the auction, they'll put it in what they call lane C, which are cars that have salvage titles. You have A,
You
B,
have
and
two
C.
car knowledgeable
And
guys.
then it goes to the C lane, somebody will buy it, they'll issue a salvage title, they'll take it, probably buy it for $800, they'll fix it up for like $1,500, and they'll sell it as a salvage vehicle for like $3,500, $4,000.
Well, one of the positives of adding the age limit, one of the reasons cab drivers will buy a car like that instead of buying and spending a little bit more money, if they know they can keep the car longer and then get their money out of it, they're more apt to buy a higher priced car because they know instead of having to take it out at the end of the 10th year, they can go another period of time. So it may balance out. That doesn't mean we won't talk about it. It just means hopefully that may help balance it.
Oh, I'm fine with the law. As far as the 15-year and such like that, I'm fine with that, but it's just the two-piece cars are
Right.
concerning.
Appreciate
I would agree with that.
I've
Okay.
learned a lot today, gentlemen. That's great. Okay.
All in favor?
Ah,
Passes. Next one is BL 2019-1657 by Hager, referred to as the amends to Metro Code, Chapter 12.54, horse-drawn carriages. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second. We have a discussion. Can you tell us what that's about?
The ordinance was originally passed in 2002. Essentially, it has not been touched. There have been some tweaking done, but not a whole lot. There were several pieces of, I would call housekeeping, that we went through and added to sort of make it more current. We did have public hearing in front of the commission. The industry was there and spoke. there's still other things I wish we had done, but we didn't. The commission didn't recommend it, but I'm reasonably satisfied. What it'll do is, for instance, as you know, we've had a lot of disputes in the industry, which meant a lot of hearings in front of the commission. This actually, working with Tara Ladd's vision on what we could do is establish a hearing process where the director could actually have a director's hearing and actually hear what the complaint is and make a determination, and then carry that to the commission for consideration. So it's not something that I particularly wanted to do, but it's something that probably makes sense, and maybe something if it works with this, we may come back and say, well, let's add it to all of the area. If there were more budget, we'd do administrative law judges, but without budget, we'd go for this.
Well, I recall watching a traffic and parking commission hearing. I cannot recall exactly for what purpose, but was surprised the extent to which one particular dispute related to a horse carriage took up a lot of time.
We have a robust discussion at those hearings, and they do seem to take up the majority of the agenda, and oftentimes we don't even finish our agenda, so we're pushing the next, so we continue to have to push to the next. So this really just gives Mr. Fields the opportunity, if he wants to resolve it before he goes in, and then the commission can be oversight if it's appealed. Another thing that we had to add, which was strange it's not already there, was being subject to disciplinary action if you lie before the commission, because that actually happened. And we had a previous taped conversation, because the meetings are taped, and then the person said contradicting conversation. So that's another thing that was added, that you can get your license pulled if you lie to the commission and things like that. So we've had about 17 years, not me, but of figuring out little things that we've needed along the way. And what we try to do with this edit is try to push as much that we could recall, and we think that maybe helps us and alleviate some of that burden into the bill.
I appreciate
I
that.
think that was when they were fighting over the spaces down there.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one?
That was part of how the spaces are used and who parked in. Did they pull out? Did they pull out in front? Did they back their horse up? And
Yeah. May I ask how many horse-drawn carriages are licensed in Davidson County?
we have 3 companies at the present time. Out of those companies, there are 11 that can operate. So there are
11 carriages.
11 carriages, physical carriages on the street at one time.
So there's no limitation as to how many may be on the street at any particular time internal to downtown?
Up to their limit. Typically, that doesn't happen. 6 or 7 is most. Sometimes there's only 3 or 4.
Do carriages have a similar limitation? Like, I know as far as pedal taverns, that we kind of established that there was a peak commute time frame within which they could perhaps not operate. Do we ever, or was that just a conversation we were having?
No, we took them off the street at rush hour in the afternoon. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
But we've not done that for carriages?
No, the carriages.
Everything, okay,
Slow-moving vehicles.
okay.
Is off during like peak rush hour, and I believe they go out at
Right, 7 to 9 and 4 to 6.
Okay,
Okay, all in favor?
Yes, sir.
yes, thank you for your work on that.
Okay, pass that. And then the last one is BL 2019-1658. That's Elrod O'Connell, amends Chapter 12.62 of Title 12, the Metro Code of Laws regarding shared urban mobility devices.
This was deferred in the last meeting until the second meeting in July,
Okay,
per Mr. O'Connell.
Do I have a motion to defer?
I'll make that motion.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
And that's deferred to when?
Second meeting in July, so I guess it's the 16th, I believe is what someone said.
The second plus the 14 days, yes, 16th.
16th? All right, and that concludes our meeting. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Forsberg, did you?
May I? Richard Forward, 258 Cherokee Station Drive, 37209. Does this committee and/or the corresponding commission have any authority over how traffic studies that are conducted routinely as part of a new development, I understand often by the developer, but then reviewed by the planning department, do you have any oversight as to whether or not those traffic studies are being considered adequately? Not applying any criticism on the part of our planning department. I've been in touch with Michael Briggs and Lucy Kemp. But I'm just wondering from a process standpoint, there's the old saying about camels and straws on their back. And any one development may look like, oh, well, it's just a little bit more. And there may be a lot of pressure coming from the mayor's office to approve another big high-rise here or there or whatever. At what point can this committee get involved and say, well, it looks like traffic's getting so bad that we need to maybe set some tighter rules around how those traffic studies are used and applied?
Well, if you recall, we had, that was me and Sherry Wiener's deal?
Yes.
Anything over 75 units required a traffic and parking study.
Right.
Before that, we didn't have anything, as I recall.
Right, but I'm concerned that these studies are required, they're done, somebody looks at them.
Well, and then once you look at them, you take it to planning and you sit down and you talk about what needs to be done to address the traffic, depending on how many units and how many cars are going to be associated with that. So, yeah, they do look at that. And I agree, that once you get downtown, of course, you're in a higher density district. You take my district, which is Old Hickory Hermitage, I'm a medium density district. So when people want to come in and push big developments, I may push back and say, well, that's too many units on that property, okay?
Yeah.
Depending on where it's at. Now, if you get back in these residential neighborhoods, you definitely don't want any high density over there.
Right.
But you
I'm
go to the
concerned
main
more about the phenomenon of maybe downtown, let's add midtown, every new development, but really specifically office developments more so than residential. Office developments can attract traffic from
Sure.
50 miles away.
Sure they can.
We already have nearly complete congestion on the freeways during rush
Right.
hours.
That's correct.
Presumably we could add more. We don't want to stop development. We want to keep growing. I'm pro-business. I'm pro-growth. But if we just keep saying, well,
Right.
looks like we can manage the little local traffic around here, but we know that you're adding more
Right.
traffic to the highway,
Looking
and
at
those
every-
highways are almost full, or essentially full.
Typically, to your point, we have looked at every development somewhat in isolation, rather than the aggregate effect of all of them. And in speaking with Mr. Briggs, with Director Kemp, based on y'all's earlier engagement as to kind of traffic study, I know because we now have a much more intentional transportation demand management effort in the planning department. I think you've also seen this body for any sort of incentive package or otherwise. It used to just be saying like, well, would you have a conversation? Now what we're actually doing is putting in the legislation like, well, if you're going to get this incentive, you need to have a transportation demand management plan with metro planning, right? Kind of on the record, so proactively, because ideally, parking begets traffic. And just that ratio, I would assert some of our parking minimums are a little high, especially when you're on a major corridor, if you're in the core of downtown. So I think this body is amenable to engaging in those conversations. I think the traffic study is a piece of it. I know there is a willingness in the planning department to make sure that we are looking at this much more strategically. So, I would be hopeful, in the next term that we could bring, that kind of initial effort there, what Mr. Briggs is working on, the new TDM group, because that really has just been ramping up this year. And then in the larger context of, coming back around to transportation, right? I would assert we don't need to wait 5 more years for a transportation plan. I think we need.
And you got to look at UNO too. When they issue the permits, according to what type of use it's going to be, UNO is going to require them to have so many parking spaces. I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
Oh, I'm aware of it. It's
Right. And I think that we do need to address, you're seeing in just a very small way, Mr. Forberg, that we are acknowledging, and I think the whole planning community nationwide is acknowledging that parking minimums may be a touch high, especially in, to Larry's point, it differs on your transect, where you are, your context. If you're out in a suburban context and there's no viable transit option, then your parking minimum needs to be higher. But in the core, it perhaps needs to be less. And you're seeing just a little bit, we did a parking minimum adjustment for senior housing. Right? Assumption being, if you are in a kind of a senior living facility, it is more likely, even if a couple resides there, that they are a one car.
That's correct.
Or additionally, they are just taking the van or the town car that is
Understood.
provided by so we've pulled back on those. And then additionally, interestingly, in my tree canopy bill, to encourage more tree planting and mature tree retention, we are saying in commercial and multifamily developments, if you retain a tree of a certain size in your parking area, right? So if you're trying to meet your parking minimum, Larry, and you're like, oh, dang it, I got to have 20 parking spaces here. If you're going to save a big mature tree, you now only have to have 16 parking spaces, right? And so it's just a little bit of a recognition, incremental though it is, that we don't always have to max out these parking minimums, especially on our major corridors. So I think community understandings, legislators understanding. So I personally would like to engage next term in the parking minimum conversation, these traffic studies. I think we can next term have a more intelligent policy conversation on it.
Right, and I want to add one quick comment. I
Yes.
have spoken with Michael Briggs and Lucy Kemp about the idea of using the ability to reduce parking requirements, combined potentially with the ability the planning department has to slightly increase density, if the developer is willing to, if that location should be one that needs it, some sort of expanded transit spot, transfer spots, maybe a small transit station, or contribute some,
Right.
their big box store or something, contribute a portion of their parking lot to a transit station. And obviously, this Tennessee state law prohibits some sort of, I don't know, requiring that, but doing it as part of a negotiation should be a reasonable thing. So I've asked them to look at that. I'll be meeting with them again, and I would appreciate any support from this committee and the council on that.
I appreciate that. I think
There's also expressed interest in assisting in that.
And see, before we passed, me and Sherry Winter passed it as a bill, what had happened was, and it happened in my district, the traffic and parking waived the traffic and parking study for 120 units of an apartment on the lake. And that sent me off to the moon because it was in the residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's what started that. And I said,
Right.
well, there's got to be mandatory traffic and parking studies over a certain
Oh, yeah, you don't want to waive it.
Right.
But you
That's
can
correct.
negotiate.
But they waived it behind our backs.
No, that's crazy. The planning department did.
Right, that's what they did.
well, I
Why
think
does that happen?
They just did it. They just did it
Well,
because then they could.
it was discretionary.
can't. It's discretionary.
It was discretionary at that juncture, and that's why they codified a certain number, then you have to do the study.
right, yeah.
But to your point, I think, especially on our major arterials, if you are providing access, whether for, specific stop or, curb space for ride share, or you've got a B-cycle station, or, you're doing something in that regard, I think you should be able to adjust your parking minimum a little bit. So, yeah, I think this body is open to having those conversations. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, sir?
This will conclude the meeting of the Traffic and Parking Committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.